those are all my questions. You guys have any other questions you want to ask me?
ICA.
Oh my god. It came to my head.
Hi everyone, I'm Afshi.
I'm Faye.
I'm Zoe.
And welcome to the Woke Up Show. So firstly, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
I love your podcast. I love everything about it. Like, I saw you guys on TikTok. The minute I saw it, I knew like I wanted to have you guys on the show. Like, before the camera was rolling, I was just telling them that I was so uninspired for a while, and when I saw you guys, I felt like inspired because it was just so fun and different, and there's like nothing like this in KL that you guys are doing. So tell me about your podcast. So why Oatmilk? Why lesbians?
Why
I mean,
Oatmilk?
I think I know why lesbians, but why Oatmilk?
Why Oatmilk?
It's a lesbian drink.
Is it?
Yeah, it's kind of a cultural thing. And a lot of people like oat milk as well. So, but the thing is, it is a lesbian thing. We want to claim it and all. Yeah, we do. And
Fair
we both
enough.
happen to like oat milk.
Yeah.
So we just
Same.
thought, really?
Yeah.
Which brand do you drink?
Outside.
Yes.
The best one.
The only one worth drinking. If you drink mine, it figures like I can't get along.
Yeah. We bought like the outside in bulk as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's the best. It's like it's the creamiest, almost better than regular milk.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
and the
wouldn't
price
agree
point
with
is
that.
what?
I won't agree that it's better than regular milk, okay?
Almost.
Yeah.
Like when you accidentally drink a latte and you're like, why is it so delicious? Then your like stomach hurts afterwards. You're like, yep, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So how did you guys like come up to creating Oatmilk Lesbians?
Oh, we were just so like, because the thing about me and Faye is that we're always talking about like the queer community, like between the two of us. And then we're like, you know what, let's just like do this for fun, And then we expected like to only have like 200 followers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it just suddenly blew up.
Yeah.
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 We didn't think anyone was even interested in what we had to say because we were just both interested in what we had to say. And we were like,
Yeah.
okay, we talk so much, might as well like document
Just put a
it.
mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we started it.
Amazing. So how did you guys know each other?
She used to run a coffee business and I was her loyal customer. I would see her like every Saturday. Well, sometimes her and her partner, I mean like the business partner lah. I would just drive over to their place and like get my coffee stock from them.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Beautiful friendship blossomed
Yes.
from there.
From
Yeah.
coffee.
So, like, what was it about, like, a podcast specifically that you guys felt that you wanted to do that? Like, versus, like, just, like, some people just do, like, cute videos on TikTok or, like, more, like, shorter content versus long form? Like, are you podcast people?
We're just very long-winded. So I don't
There's no short form. It's not going to happen.
No, we can't do short videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also because our conversations are so extensive and we just didn't know like how to cut them short.
Yeah.
And because of like our conversations, right, a lot of them like it has to do with things like dating and just our own experiences with other lesbians in KL. And then it got to a point where we were like ranting so much and we we're like, you know what? And we found out that a lot of our friends also like share the same sentiments in a way. So we're like, let's just like put it out there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like queer culture in Malaysia, like, it exists, but it's like really small, like really small community. As far as like what I've seen, like, some events here and there, like I even saw on your podcast, you didn't say where the events were, and I was about to say it and I shouldn't. But like the few that I've been that were like, specifically for girls and gays or whatever, it's just like you kind of, if you go to more than one, you kind of see the same people. The community feels very small. Is that just like my perception, or do you think that it's true?
I think that, so far I've only explored like 2 different events. But to be honest, like I would say the performers are similar and only like it's a small overlapping percentage. There are different crowds at different events because they cater to different markets.
Yeah.
So I would say like when the culture or the community is small, it is true to a certain extent, but a lot of them are also kind of hidden and closeted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like the events?
No.
The people.
The people, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Faye? How do you feel about it?
I think I didn't realize there were like that many gays on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
We both like this. The reason why we thought we would just have like 200 followers because we thought we knew everyone.
Yeah.
We thought like, okay, I already know like so many lesbians, and I thought like I knew lesbians outside of my age group already. So I was like, we're set. Like,
Yeah,
we
you know
whole
your
damn
age, and you
KL.
know the older, you know the younger, and so that's it.
Yeah, until like we saw so many people and we're like, who the hell are all these people?
Yeah.
They're so new, and also because we used to regularly go to events and you see the same faces all the time, so you get the
Yeah.
impression like, okay, I know everybody.
The community is small, but I guess the urban, like KL, Selangor, kind of like
Yeah.
that community is smaller. But I guess like maybe with the podcast and like, you know, when you're on social media, like you can branch out maybe the whole country as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I
That's
think
true.
it's only out ones that is small. The closeted ones
true.
is the one
Very
that is
true.
like a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in Malaysia.
Yeah, that's true.
So
So like, what was your experience? Like, you guys are like out and putting it out there on social media as well. Like, that's not a lot of people. Like you said, they wouldn't do that. Like, even if you're like openly queer with your friends, like you might not talk about it on a podcast and just put it out there so that everybody knows. Not that there's anything to be ashamed of, but like a lot of people, I guess, are scared. So how did that? Like, how did you sort of come to this place?
I'm out to everyone. Whoever doesn't know, you're gonna find out here. You're gonna find out on my podcast. yeah, I'm pretty open about it.
Were you always that way?
No, I wasn't. I thought I was like straight when I was young. So it's like, and I thought I was gonna take this to my grave, you know. But then actually, we have an episode on coming out, like coming out soon. But then I did come out to my family, and I did come out. I mean, like to my friends. You know, friends is like easy, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's
And they kind of know. I feel like your friend. Did your friends know?
yeah, they knew. I mean, they always know and everything. So it's like. Yeah, I think everyone knows, and my colleagues know as well. My boss knows, my managers know, and yeah, they're all chill about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because at the end of the day, it's just who you are. It's like not. It's not even something that, I guess, in a perfect world, you wouldn't even need to come out, right? It's just who you are. Yeah. What about you, Zoe?
Mine. What was the question?
Like, I mean, how did you like come to be so comfortable with sharing your sexuality in this way?
I think, honestly, it started out like very tough. It took a lot of courage lah. Eventually, I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. You know, I don't want to hide. And similar to Faye, I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die with this. You know, I'm not gonna tell anyone. You know, But then I was like, fuck this shit. You know, because I felt so caged.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't want that for myself. So I was kind of at the point where I was like, you know what? If I lose friends, I lose friends. If I lose people around me, I lose people around me.
Did you lose any friends?
Um,
Sorry, that's like a really personal question. You don't have to answer if you don't want
fine,
to.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I did lose a couple of friends. One friend scolded me and then blocked me.
Oh.
And then, another one told me to go see a therapist. So I did lose friends, but I mean, eventually it all turned out okay. And I feel like I'm very comfortable with where I am now, also because I don't work under anyone else. So I don't have to be afraid that I'm going to lose my job, you know?
I mean, I think it really sucks that you even have to have that fear. Like that, why would that even affect your job? You know,
Yeah, that's true.
It's
That's
like you're
very true.
like dating is like has nothing to do with work, and especially like none of that should even matter. It's not even a question, but I mean, it's a legitimate fear that you have. But then so you just kind of came to a point where you're like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And was that in your teens?
No, my teens was so confusing. Okay, honestly, I only really came to terms with it, like, fully accepting the fact that I was a lesbian, like, around 1.5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
That
we had
time-
that conversation. When I
Yeah.
knew Zoe was bi.
Yeah.
Until she read this, like, there's this thing in like the lesbian community where a lot of lesbians realize that they're actually lesbian and not bisexual after reading this master doc.
Okay.
So this master doc basically tells you a lot. It makes you question about your attraction towards men, and then in the end you realize that the attraction is really not that deep, and you are just saying that you're bisexual because you're afraid to say that you're a lesbian.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Yeah.
It was only like 1.5 years ago when I, fully accepted myself lah. Yeah.
But that's like amazing that within 1.5 years you're so comfortable. Like I would think that you've always been so comfortable.
I was always very comfortable being a bisexual lah, but I wasn't really a bisexual. I feel like it was kind of, honestly, it was a gradual thing for me lah. It's not like 1.5 years and suddenly like I'm super
You're just
comfortable.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but that's also with everything, right? I think we're all just like perpetually trying to be more and more comfortable with ourselves.
that's
like
true.
for a lot of people, like some things are easier to be comfortable with than not, but it's just I think it's an endless process.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What about your family? How was that? Do they know? I mean, you, yes.
Yes. Well, my dad knows. The rest of my family doesn't know. I mean, maybe they know. I don't know lah. I have like a rainbow flag plastered in my room, so maybe they know. So you know what?
She's just a great ally.
Yeah, I think they do know. I'm not very close to my extended relatives, so I don't think they know, and they're all like elderly, so they're not on social media. I don't think they know. Other than that, maybe it's just my dad that I really care about, you know, and I just want him to know.
Like the important people in your life are the
Yes.
ones that you need to know. Everybody else is just
Yeah,
if they know, they know. If they don't,
Yeah,
it's okay.
correct.
What about you, Faye? Like, was it like a process for your family to kind of like be like cool, or were they immediately like, yeah, it's fine?
It was kind of like 50-50. So when I came out to them, I actually sat them down. And I made like a whole big deal out of it. I was like crying and everything. And all I said was, I'm gay. And I was like, and I was like saying this in our new episode. I was even kicking myself out of the house. I was like, I don't give a shit what you guys think. I'm gonna like live with someone else. I don't care if you accept me. I just want to be seen. And then my dad was like, who said we're gonna kick you out? So I was like being so dramatic. Long story short, my mom and my brother are accepting, but my dad is not accepting. So, but they weren't like very, they weren't terrible to me like when I came out to them. Like my dad was actually very inquisitive. Like he asked me questions. He's like, how did you know? When did you know? You know, like, are you sure? And all these things. So at first I thought like he was like really accepting about it. I was like, wow. I've never seen...
inquisitive.
Yeah, my mom was like silent the whole time, so I was like, damn, like this is not something I expected from my dad. And in the end, he was just like, okay, it's like I'm so proud of you that you know you've been so able to come to terms with yourself and everything. That's like a huge step. And the next step now is therapy. So I was like taking
It was like a roller coaster.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, shit, is my dad like finally accepting me? And it turns out he actually like suggested for me to see therapy. And then because he thinks that it's a mental illness and everything.
Okay.
So there's all that. But like, I mean, okay, I didn't really want to argue with him because at the time I was just kind of like, I was just really sick of them saying things like, oh, you know, like, when are you going to do this with your boyfriend? Or when are you going to do this with your husband? And it just irks me. Like, I just feel so disgusted with the possibility of being perceived as straight or bisexual.
Okay.
So it's like, I just didn't
like
want
men, just hell nah.
Yeah, just don't say these kind of things to me, you know, like it just feels, I feel so invalidated. So I was like, I gotta come out to them.
Yeah. Because you always, okay, I get it.
Yeah. But my mom, she actually, even though she was quiet the whole time, she actually said something that like really shocked me because she was like, oh, I always knew you were gay, so I like went to therapy for it.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I guess moms always know, right?
Well, actually, the pastor at my church outed me.
Oh, shit!
I was
like, this is a motherly intuition.
I mean, she kind of knows lah, but he just like validated it for her because he's like, you know, I always see like LGBT posts on your daughter's Facebook. So he's like, you gotta be careful because I think she's LGBT. And then my mom, she was like, because like I'm a very stubborn person, I'm gonna fight until I die. So it's like she knows that I'm gonna keep fighting, and she like told me, she's like, I actually been going to therapy for a year. I know that this is not something you can change about yourself. And I know that this is who you are. I know you're never gonna change. So I know this is something I need to accept. That's why like I'm working towards trying to meet you there. And I feel like I've met you halfway. And she told me to be like hush about it because she's like, oh, I still need my pride and everything, you know, like typical Asian family things lah. And then, but yeah, she was just saying like, yeah, I'm trying very hard. So I was like, oh my god, you went to therapy all this time and like I didn't know that.
I mean, I guess like despite like maybe she didn't come all the way, but like that's kind of an amazing move by like an Asian parent to like seek therapy and like she wants to come to terms with it before you tell her so she can maybe have the right reaction. And
yeah, so I was really touched and I was crying a lot just because I just didn't know like there was so many things going on behind the scenes. I thought it was just me, you know, and like my own trying to like get my family to accept me. But I mean, I'm obviously not in their generation. I don't know how they grew up. Maybe if I grew up like them, I would probably be the same way as well, you know? So yeah, it was really touching to hear that from her.
That's really sweet. Like and since then she's completely cool with it.
Yeah, she even says things like she will correct herself sometimes. Like she'll be like, "Oh, next time when you and your partner,
So cute.
yeah, she doesn't say like wife or like
Yeah.
anything yet, but she gives like gender neutral terms to things like that now. So I feel seen, and that's actually what I want. So
I think that's what we all like endlessly search for, is to feel seen by whoever it may be, if that's your friend or that's your parent or that's even like your romantic partner. Like recently, like I found like this, my parents, like they wrote to each other. They wrote about the first time they met each other, and I never read it before. And when I read it, I teared up because like they both like kind of just had this moment where they just looked at each other and they just felt seen. And I was just like, oh my god, like that's it. I was like, nobody's ever like I've never felt seen by anybody in that way before. So I was just like, damn, when I read it, I was like, that's all we want, like from anybody. And maybe we so easily get it sometimes from, you know, the people like if we're lucky, our family and our close friends, but I guess even further to get it from somebody that you eventually be your like life partner for 30 years, it's just like, it's unreal. I think we don't always know that it's being seen, that's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Yes.
So how is it like that was a little deep, we get a little fun. So how has it been like dating in Malaysia?
Oh shit.
I watch your podcast, so I know I should ask.
Oh my god. Oh, it's so messy though. That's like the only thing I say all the time repeatedly. Like it is so messy. Everyone's traumatized basically. Yeah, there's a lot of unhealed people out there. And I don't know, for some reason, right? I feel like the only healthy people I've met are actually my friends. But then again, you don't really know if like how someone is like when they're dating, lah. You know, friends may be different, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just really messy.
It's messy. Is it because it's small?
I would say that is part of the reason, but also again the whole unhealed thing.
I think that's a gender neutral problem, though. Like women, men, everybody stay unhealed, you know.
That is true, but we can't relate. Or for me, I cannot relate because I've never dated men.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see how like dating men would be.
Even further unhealed.
Yeah. I mean, but honestly, with lesbians also, they can behave as badly, to be frank. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not I guess, like women are. I guess we're all the same, right? We're just people. Yeah.
It is true. Like, yeah, regardless of how you treat people, like it's not any better dating women.
Yeah. That's true.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really messy as well. I mean, like I'm celibate now, going on for 1 year. Because I'm so tired and sick of this shit. Yeah, I think the pool is one thing, like the pool being small. But I think like honestly, like if you're gay in Malaysia, you automatically have mental illness. So it's like you have that.
Yeah, because it's hard to feel accepted here.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You struggle with that a lot. And then I think like, you know, I feel like a lot of the ways we are in relationships is a reflection of our relationship with our parents.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah. And
Amen to that.
yeah, so I feel like because generally queer people do have bad relationships with their parents. And maybe that stuff heals like when they are like later in life, maybe their 30s or like late 20s and everything. But I feel like until that happens, and I don't think a lot of people get to heal their relationships with their parents.
Yeah.
And as a result, they carry on the things they've seen at home and all that. And also, also like the sort of safety net that you get with your parents, a lot of them don't get that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that just kind of translates into how it plays out in
Like I
relationships.
guess that's why like so many people also become like codependent very easily, because like you're looking for comfort and love, and like when you don't have that from your family, you seek that from your partner.
Yeah.
And there's only so much two people can give. You need other people in your life as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I have heard you guys speak about like the dating apps. Like, is that like even smaller?
No, actually, I feel like the dating apps are like, there's people you find on dating apps that you don't actually see in real life. But people you see in real life are on the dating apps, like, you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's
the
pretty
pool
big.
refreshes like pretty well, I would say. Yeah, it's like I would like, let's say I'm in a relationship, then afterwards like 2 years later I'll be like, oh, that's like different people that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, I think in Malaysia I always feel like very particularly like surprised if I see anybody new on a dating app because I'm just like deleting people over and over again.
Yeah.
And you can like delete it, leave for like 6 months and come back like the same 20 people that you see there.
Yeah, that's true. There are like some people who stay on dating apps like so long though.
Yeah.
It's like every time, like I think I've been on dating apps for like 6 years now. There are some people I'm just like, oh my god, you're still here, dude.
Hey, how do you know they didn't go and come back?
That's true lah. That's true. But it's like same bio, same picture, same pickup line.
Oh my god, same
everything.
pickup line.
Me. It's actually me. Never change it. Just pause the account for a few months.
Yeah.
So do you feel safe in Malaysia, like being gay?
I think for us, we are the most privileged in that community. We are straight passing. We're not under the Sharia law.
Yeah.
So we are honestly like for us, we are probably the safest lah. You know, and because both of us have really come out to the people around us, and you know, with your job and everything, with my work and everything. Of course, for us, we feel a lot safer than others.
Yeah, because I think that the more marginalized groups are like gay and trans.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, if you are under the Sharia law,
Yeah.
so because we are like neither of those things, I feel like we are definitely like the most privileged ones. Yeah.
As lesbians, you mean? Because like that was something I was thinking about because I did some research about the laws in Malaysia and everything. There is like, I mean, there's unnatural sex, which mostly comes under Sharia law, like you guys were saying. But it's also a lot of the things that I said about gay men and mostly trans women. So it's a lot of it is towards like people who are birthed as male.
Yeah.
And so I wondered how that works, you know, like when it comes to the gay community as a whole. Obviously, like if one person is if there's one person in society who is marginalized and not treated right, then the whole society is not functioning properly or well. But I guess as a group, like I wondered how that experience would play out, you know?
As a group of lesbians?
No, as a group, as the LGBT group. As a group of lesbians. But you still feel like pretty okay, like.
Pretty okay, honestly.
I think it's also in a lot of ways like girls like best friends can like hold hands and they don't like immediately assume that
That's true.
you're gay, but like if it's two guys then oh my god.
That's so true.
Yeah. And one thing I feel like we have a privilege is that we don't have to change our names. So I think a lot of like let's say trans men, no, not trans men, sorry, my bad, like gay men who want to hide or like people who are under the Sharia law and everything, they tend to live double lives.
Yeah.
So because of that, like a lot of them change their aliases. Like they would have a different name on social media, but they actually like have a different name on their IC and all that. So I think in the sense like for us, we get to go by our first and last names liberally, which it is in itself a privilege, I feel.
Like you don't feel so disconnected from, I guess, who you are and your sexuality. It still feels like, I guess maybe not even your sexuality, your true identity. I never thought about that, like the names.
Yeah, because it's like, I think some people hide it because they don't want to, you know, let's say if someone suspects that they're gay and then they're going to look up like where they work and all these things, and then they can like use that against people. But I feel like for us, we don't have to worry about that, which is a really huge privilege actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you guys like, you know, you're aware of your privilege as well. Yeah, it's just, I don't even know what to say about it. You know, it just fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does.
But do you feel like, I mean, like on the flip side, right, when people tend to talk about like, you know, the movements and like protests or like, you know, even all these like social media movements of people supporting like LGBT issues in Malaysia, do you feel like lesbians are included in that, or do you feel like maybe it doesn't matter if they're not as included? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I do feel like we are included. Like even in Women's March and stuff like that, we are pretty included, you know. I feel like when it comes to like all these kind of things, it's a lot to do with also how do you put this? They kind of like, from my experience going to the previous Women's March, I think it was 2021, I saw a lot of people talking about, you know, social issues in general.
at the park, right?
Yeah,
it was just like it wasn't
raining and
really.
everything.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
there. I was there with my dad.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, he
Wow.
came. Yeah, he's a girl dad.
Wow, that's nice.
One of my friends was volunteering, and she was like texting. Somebody texted her and said, "I think there's a cop here," and it's like, no, that's my friend's dad.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, but that one, because that's the only women's march I've been to,
Yeah.
you know. And from what I saw, they were speaking on a lot of like social issues in general, advocating for a lot of like, you know, marginalized communities and stuff like that also lah. So I do feel like yes, the LGBTQ plus community is included in, well, particularly that movement, you know.
Yeah, I guess within the women's movement itself, lah.
Mm.
Yeah. And do you feel like there are lots of like advocacy groups and all that? Do you feel like it's moving in the right direction in any way?
Yeah, I do think that there are advocacy groups. There are a lot of like safe spaces, which I cannot say where they are. I feel like there is a lot. Yeah, at least to me, like a lot of groups and everything, and a lot of resources as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That is accessible.
I think it's also like every time I see stuff like that, like I feel really like it makes me feel really happy. But then like on the flip side, I don't know if you guys saw recently about the whole Swatch incident. Like I wanted to bring that up. Yeah,
What Swatch incident?
you didn't see it?
No.
So like Swatch like came out with this line of like, wait, I have it here, like rainbow watches.
Oh.
Yeah, so on the 13th and 14th, they were like, the police raided like Wanutama Pavilion, Sunway, Mid-Valley, this mall in Sabah, and like a bunch of other malls to get rid of the watches.
What?
Yeah. And it had something to also do with Coldplay, because I think like someone from like Chris Martin or someone like put the watch on their page, and you know how they've been condemning Coldplay so much. I don't even know why. It's like, I don't think Chris Martin is gay, right?
No.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, why are they condemning it so much? And so now they've raided that place, and then I thought that the CEO of Swatch like made a really like good comment. He was like, Swatch always promotes a positive message of joy in life. This is nothing political. We wonder how like the government will confiscate the many beautiful rainbows that show up 1,000 times in the sky in a year. I was like, that's so shady.
That's actually facts.
Yeah, because like, I mean, Science Center is also a rainbow, right? What is it? Batu Caves is rainbow.
Yeah.
So but I feel like when I see things like this, sometimes I really start to feel like, will we ever move forward? Like, do those like, living in this country, does it weigh on you guys?
Honestly, like, I just feel like, to be honest, I don't really feel like there's going to be a huge difference. If we're talking in terms of the LGBTQ plus community, by the time we die, also no difference lah. That's what I feel lah, right? Maybe slight changes, but not so significant that, it actually
we're not going to see
us.
Marriage legalized.
Yeah, obviously not.
Yeah.
Obviously not, I don't know. I just don't feel like in terms of, in this aspect, I don't feel like we're moving forward lah, honestly. Yeah.
I actually think we will.
Really?
Yeah, because yes, I won't see it and everything, but I feel like the haters will die with me. Like, I'll be dead. Yeah, sure. It's one less gay person for you, but you're dying with me too.
Yeah.
And everyone else who's new and everything, I believe people will naturally be progressive.
Yeah.
We will move towards a more progressive country. We will see it one day. Maybe we won't see it, but it's like
we won't see it, but
it will definitely happen.
Yeah.
Because everyone's mortal.
Yeah.
And but one thing that isn't mortal is society.
Facts.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely always like, when I see stuff like this, I get a little like, oh my God, I hate it here. Like, I want to leave. But then like, I recently was hanging out with my cousins, and like, there are about 16 and 18. And so they have all their friends, and like, they're all just queer as hell. Like, all of them.
Wow.
Like, my cousin, like, they live with my grandparents, and she has this little like thing that she painted that said respect my pronouns, because she goes by like she, her, and they, them. So like, and she's bi, she's come out, our other cousin has come out as bi as well, and like all their friends are like queer and body positive and all of this, and I was like,
that's so nice to
like,
hear.
I'm so jealous. I wish I had this in high school.
That is so nice to hear, actually.
Right?
Yeah, we would have never had that in high school.
Hell nah. Never. Even if like, Yeah, definitely not. It would have just been like if you were outwardly lesbian, you would have been extremely fetishized. Or like if you're a gay guy, you would just be made fun of by the guys, and all the girls will just want to be your bestie.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So true.
yeah. But that sort of thing always gives me hope because I just watch them and I'm like, I like the world that you guys are cultivating. It's like even to put the respect my pronouns in my grandparents' house.
Yeah, honestly.
And my grandma, she's like has like late stage Parkinson's, so she has a bit of dementia, and so she really doesn't know what that is. So I mean, it's like one step forward, always.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
nice to
even
hear.
faster actually than what I thought. Like when I was in high school, I never thought this would happen. Even when I'm at this age.
What would happen?
Like all this.
Oh.
And like, yeah, I guess this like social media, this woke culture, all of that, like that penetrates society. And I guess the younger kids, like, I think because children in general, I mean, all of us, I don't think any of us would have had a binary growing up or any of those things. We didn't have judgments. You didn't think about race or sexuality or whatever. You just liked who you liked and you didn't, and that's enforced. And I guess nowadays, like, there's only so much that can be enforced from the parents because you have access to the internet and
that's
social
true,
media,
that's
so you
true.
can find yourself so much easier.
Yeah. But I feel like this applies to the citizens of this country.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, the citizens do reflect the government. I don't know if you want to like bleep that out or whatever, but I do feel like it reflects in the government, although it's going to be like a war lah, to get to the stage where everybody is like accepted equally and stuff like that.
You know what's crazy? So I wanted to do like a bit of a like history lesson for myself and for everybody watching of like what happened in Malaysia, like how it all went down. But Malaysia pre-colonization, there was no binary. We wore whatever we wanted. We had sex with whoever we wanted. There was a lot of there's even evidence of non-normative sexual practices. So like that was us. And then when the colonizers came, the British colonizers, they put in the penal code which criminalized sodomy, which includes oral sex with the penis. Which I'm just like, how are you gonna know? And like that's not just gay people, not the only people who do that.
Yeah.
But it just got me thinking. It's like we always look at the West as like, oh, they're so far, but they're the ones who came to literally almost every Asian country and put this onto the culture, and we retained it when we got independence, and we didn't get rid of that law. And it's just like it's not even us, and it sucks that what they kind of put out in like from the 80s, 90s, like. In the 90s is when they put out a fatwa against the homosexuality, which is just such a dramatic move in my opinion, because how are you going to do that to everybody? But it's like for some reason they held on to something that was put onto us as if it's our own. But at the end, like our Malaysian people, like we're actually not rigid. We're not bound by a binary, and I think that that's so nice. Like it sucks that that's what we decided to keep.
Yeah, I think people actually forget their roots sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think sometimes just because like how things are as they are doesn't mean it is what it was.
It doesn't mean it's how it's always been.
Yeah, and also and it's really hard because like our history lessons are not that accessible as well.
Yeah.
Like history lessons that involve these things. Like,
took a lot of like deep dive for me to find this. Yeah.
So I feel like if history was actually changed, like the way it was taught and everything, people would be less attached to how things are now.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't always like reference like arguments being like, oh, this is how it was, like it's been here, like this is our system and everything, when it was colonized onto us.
Exactly.
So yeah.
It's not our system. It's a system that we have upheld for many years, but it doesn't mean we can't dismantle it and change it and become more inclusive, because that's how our country is going to get way better. But we out here trying, we trying.
Yeah, we trying.
There was even, I don't know if you guys knew this, in 2007, there was actually a trans woman. Her name was Samira Krishnan. So she's Indian. And actually in India, they like recognize a third gender. Like they've recognized it like for all of history. So I guess like, that's also another thing I've noticed. Like, I mean, like if you're like Indian. Not to, I guess I gotta bring race into it. It's like, because it's so culturally like normalized to a certain degree, of course, it's the traditions, like, you know, there are people in my family who are out and gay, and they'll still be like, are they going to have a boyfriend? Like,
No.
no? Maybe not. But I guess culturally also they're more likely to be able to do so, which makes me wonder for the people who it's not within their like cultural, it's not allowed within their culture, like how much harder it must be. But long all the way around, but she had a court case where she wanted to change her gender, but they dismissed it. So she really tried to push it forwards, but it didn't work out. And I mean endlessly, like every single year there is something that is like atrocious that happens against like the LGBT community, like raids in private homes that result in caning, that result in the one incident in Terengganu. I'm sure you guys heard of it, right? And it was just so controversial all over the world. What did they do? I think they like
Was it the two lesbians?
The two lesbians, caned them, exactly, and publicly as well. That like, it's just, I think we also like we do live in this like privileged part of the world where it feels part of Malaysia where you feel so disconnected that I can't even believe that happens here. It's not even that long ago.
That's so true.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it just, there's nothing. There's like nothing. I honestly nothing positive that I have here in the Malaysian in my history lesson. But literally every year there's something that sucks that happens. But I think that what also has happened is that now as we've moved forward, people are less scared. I think that a lot of times there's a lot of fear mongering, but they see how like things can be better and they can be more progressive. Like
that's true.
When I was at the Shangri-La raid back in October last year, and were either of you guys there?
No,
I was supposed to go, but yeah.
Luckily you didn't.
I couldn't get tickets.
So I was there, and so once the raid happened and everything, and they were escorting the queens out, they catwalked out. And I was tearing up because like I just felt so proud of them. Like, yes, like don't hide who you are. You are not doing anything wrong. Nobody did anything wrong. We're consensually here. Everybody's paid to be here. We paid money for these tickets. We want to be here. And the party was so lit, and like they tried to drug test everything. Nothing. They couldn't get them for anything. And so like even just seeing, it's just a small act. Like I just remember this so fabulous, like catwalking out. I was like, yes. Fight. This is like a small but like beautiful
it's
fight.
Like empowering, you know.
And it sucks that like, you know, they say like existence is your resistance, but it's just like why do you have to like, why does your existence have to be threatened like that? Do you guys also ever feel like worried about your podcast? Like when you know, you're in Malaysia, you're talking about LGBT issues, LGBT, you know what I mean?
I think like initially we were like a little bit like fearful, because I mean it's really easy to track down where you work, where your office is,
and also especially because you guys blew up a lot on TikTok, right? And TikTok people I feel like are really like, they can be really nice or they can be really harsh with their words. TikTok specifically, I don't know why. Like we got some horrible comments on TikTok before.
Yeah. I mean, we were concerned at first, but then to be really honest, there's a lot of gay content on TikTok. You know, and it's like from Malaysians. So there's a lot of all this queer content and everything.
And you also were posting content before, right? I've seen your TikToks before.
I just make like simple TikToks. I just like write on trends and so things like that. But
they were also like more queer content, right?
Yeah, there is a lot actually. So I was just like telling her, okay, like there is like a lot of people anyway, and they're not caught.
So that's true.
Like, I don't think they're gonna do anything to us. And also because like one thing we are sure about is like we'll never post any groups or like any whereabouts or like online groups or events and everything. So I just feel like, any hits will just be for the both of us. But I don't think they're gonna hit us. I want to be confident about it.
Yeah, as you should be. I mean, that's how I feel sometimes with the Woke Up show. Like, we did an episode talking about privilege, and we had like an inclusive like group of people. We had 2 guys, 2 girls. We had every race, all of that. And I just put up a clip about privilege in Malaysia, and we just mentioned a bit of Bumi Putra, and we had like 1, 2, I can't remember, so many comments, and like people were like tagging the police. They were like, we need to report you guys.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, we're stating facts. Like, we didn't place a real opinion in all of it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's the kind of thing that you're like, you think, like, I thought I wouldn't be that scared when I saw that. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Then I was like, should I delete it? But I don't want to, because like I love this, like I love Malaysia and I want it to be better, and that's why I want to talk about these things, because like the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, the more things can change. But then it gets a little scary sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It does get scary.
I think, but for you guys, because your content is like more general, I
Yeah.
feel like it can just reach the wrong people.
Oh,
Like,
yes,
on the
it can.
algorithm,
Like in our comments, it was like a race war, and I was like, oh my god, we called the woke up show, like no. I just kept reading it, and I was just like, huh? Wait. We meant to kind of bring people together, not
Yeah.
I think also because a lot of our content is we are getting a little political. So I think when you hit politics is when you have to be so careful. But I mean, I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing. I think it's super fun.
Yeah,
So
me too.
let's make it a bit lighter. So I'm gonna ask you something TMI, okay? So how was like your like first? You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Your first sexual experience with a woman. How, you don't have to talk about like the act itself, but like leading up to it. How was it? How did you kind of come there? Was that the moment you really realized that you were gay? Like, how did it work?
Well, the moment I realized I was gay was when I slept with a man, not with a woman.
I didn't clip that.
Yeah. That wasn't, sleeping with a woman was not my realization.
Yeah, that was
of
just
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, actually, can you expand on that?
How? What do you mean?
Like
Like, what was it about
Yeah.
the guy that made you realize not for you?
I don't think it was the guy's problem. I think it was just me, you know? And I was at that bisexual thing where I was like refusing to accept the fact that I was a lesbian. So I kept thinking, maybe if I have sex with him one more time, I will actually like it. Thankfully I didn't. Because the first time I slept with him, I spent 2 weeks talking to my friends, asking them, am I a lesbian?
Oh, you already like, oh my god, like.
Yeah. Yeah, but then after those 2 weeks, I was like, okay, never mind. I'm still bisexual. It's fine. Then it took a while. Yeah.
And then you just, from that experience, just kind of was like, you know what, I don't want to do that ever again.
I'm not too sure. I think I don't know actually. It's like my friends were sending me like passive aggressive TikToks about like how, you know, oh, you say you're bisexual, you're actually a lesbian. Because I think they knew, because they cannot like see me with a man, you know. So they were like calling me out, but you know, eventually when Faye sent me like the master dog, I was like, okay, fine.
I can you send me the master dog?
I can send you the master dog.
I was like, fine, you know. Yeah.
Damn. I mean, when I was in uni, I had a sexual experience with this girl, and I thought I was straight. Like, I just didn't. I was like, I don't know, but my uni was like super gay. Like my uni date, we had this saying where it'd be like, you're gonna be gay by May if you come to this uni, because everybody's so gay.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I just like went out with my friend. We went to a lesbian bar, and like I didn't know, whatever. We had a good time, all of that. And the next day I just came home. I was like, what just happened? My roommates were like, duh, we knew that was gonna happen. I was like, how did you guys know? I didn't know. And my mom happened to be in town, and I was just so confused. I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? And then my mom was leaving to the airport that day, and so she just came over to my dorm, and I was just sitting there, and then I just like burst out crying. I was like, Mom, I had sex with a girl, and she was like, what? And I was like, I've had sex with guys too, and she's like, what?
Way to drop the bomb. Oh my god.
And then I was just like, sorry.
Sorry.
Well, my mom, oopsies. But then my mom was just like, you know, you don't have to label yourself. And I was just like, no, what if I want to label? You know, you just can't. You can't be accepted. You almost want to not be accepted in that moment.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, they were cool. But that was like, I don't always laugh about the experience because my mom had to like get on an 8-hour flight. Like I was just like, hi, sorry. And she's just she didn't know anything. She thought I was a virgin. So
Oh my god. Damn.
Wow.
yeah.
I don't know if I could ever say that to my mom.
Yeah. I feel like that's when I kind of opened the door with my mom and I just tell her everything.
That's so cool though. But
Yeah.
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 I think all.
I don't think she appreciates it, but she likes it. But sometimes she's like, do I need to know everything?
Don't moms want to know everything though?
I think that's like the line I truly try to, to push. Because I'm just like, I always say that, just tell them everything. Then they won't ask you anymore.
That's facts. Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Faye?
For me also, yes, I didn't really like realize that I was lesbian, like just by having sex with men. Like I am actually not sexually attracted to men at all. Like I thought I was bi for the longest time because I found men attractive until I realized that I only find them aesthetically attractive. But when I'm with them, like sexually, I'm just like, I don't know why, like I find you aesthetically attractive, but I just don't feel anything with you. And I've tried like for so many years because I really convinced myself that I was bisexual.
It's also like, I think if you're like more like, you're more queer, you're open to like any gender, it's just easier to date a man. It's just easier to kind of like, okay lah, just date a man and just let that be that.
Yeah, and then like also for the longest time, I was like, oh my god, like the thought of getting married to a man just dreaded me, and I just like kept finding answers. I was like, what's going on? Like, why is it that I don't want to be married to a man? Is it because I'm problematic or like something? Like there's something wrong with me? Until I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just like a lesbian. Yeah, and so like when I had sex with men, I was just like, okay, I'm like trying to like it, but I don't. But it's like the minute like I knew I was gonna do it with women, I was like, there's no turning back. I'm like so scared. I was like, I'm going to hell, but like who cares?
Whatever, it's worth it.
Yeah. I was just like so scared, but I was like, it was just a feeling in me that this is like, there's no turning back with this, and I knew that I was gonna like it. There's just some things you know that you're gonna like. And I think that that instinct that you feel inside, like you should listen to it instead of just like deny it or like just try too hard with something that you're not into at all.
Yeah, I think that's something I always like appreciated when I spoke to my parents, but even my dad, he was kind of like, because at that time I just really wanted to like place a label on myself, like I'm bi or I'm lesbian or whatever. I didn't know. And then I was just like, he was just like, you don't have to label yourself. And I felt that at that time that was really like denying me. Like, you just want me to be nothing? You just want me to be straight? And then he was like, and he of course made a stupid joke about wanting grandkids and all that. And I was just like, ugh, whatever. But I think like that always stuck with me. It's just like, just whatever feels comfortable and feels natural. Like if that's, just being with women, then that's great. But if that's being with men and women, that's also good. That's just being with men, that's also good. But just, it's like to be able to be free to just do what feels right for you. Like what you said when you knew it was coming to girls, like you're like, oh, there's no turning back for me. Like that's it. Like that's what, that feels comfortable and natural for you. Maybe not always comfortable. I feel a bit shy and all that. It's normal, but
I feel like for me, like it's not about like sexual that made me realize I was a lesbian. It was like my first heartbreak. Oh my god, I was in shambles. I was just like, I used to think like, okay, you know what? This kind of shit doesn't affect me. Because I had like relationships with men and obviously like I went through breakups with them and like some of them cheated on me as well. But it's like I just wasn't affected by it. I was just like, I thought I was just so mentally tough.
Oh, you just didn't care.
Yeah, I didn't care. I was just like, okay, they cheated on me, but it's like, okay, I guess they're just a bad person and I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it. And I thought like, I was just like this rational person and everything until when and I mean, it's still the same. Like whenever I have heartbreaks with women, it's just terrible. Yeah. It's just terrible. I wouldn't eat. I can't sleep. I'm just like crying for days, screaming, crying, throwing up, everything. Yeah. It's like, that was when I knew, I was like, oh my god, is this what a heartbreak feels like?
Right.
Like, I've been cheated on, but that was like nothing.
I was like, cheated on, but who cares, right? It's like a woman breaks my heart. Worst thing ever. Yeah, so that was when I knew. Yeah, it was more emotional.
Yeah. I think because a lot of people, I guess even me asking the questions bringing it more down to sex, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
That's just one part of life. Yeah. Those are all my questions. You guys have any other questions? You want to ask me anything?
Are you gay?
Oh my god. That's the first thing that came to my head.
No, I'm just like, I'm open to anybody. Yeah.
No labels, right?
No labels, yeah. Yeah, like my mom, like somebody was asking me like, because I had a friend who liked me and she was a girl and it was this whole thing and then they were like, gay? And I was just like, don't know. Yeah, anything.
Can you tell like who's gay? Like
No.
how's your gaydar?
No idea. Never have any idea who's gay and who's straight.
So you have to like they have to like spell it out and everything.
Unless like somebody's like very like, you know, if they're like more androgynous and they kind of have that vibe, then I guess I can tell. But even then, I don't want to assume.
Right.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like 100% of androgynous are gay. Like, do you know anyone who's androgynous who isn't gay?
No.
I
think
don't know
majority
anyone.
of them.
Right.
But at least the ones we know lah are gay.
Yeah, maybe because younger lesbians, if they're gay, they're androgynous. I think like the millennial and older people, like sometimes like I don't know, like you know all those like Chinese aunties and everything, they present themselves a certain way but they are straight. I think maybe like
Yeah. Oh my god, those are so confusing.
Yeah.
Then okay, maybe not lah, but I think
Yeah.
our age is like
Yeah. It's
however
pretty
they
obvious.
dress and if they look gay, they
You
are gay.
Yeah, you can smell it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that my gaydar sucks. How would you identify a lesbian, you know?
You just know.
It's the eye contact.
It's not the eye contact for me lah. You
really?
just know.
Yeah,
Like,
you just something.
see the way they walk, see the way they dress, and I don't know. They have this aura.
The way
this
they walk. What does
lesbian
that
aura.
even mean? How do they walk?
Lesbians have a way where they walk. I don't know. Some lesbians.
It's the homo hunch.
You guys are giving me clips on clips. What do you mean, like?
They just like lesbians like to slouch, you know. They just like to be like, you know.
But even if they don't slouch, they have a gay vibe. You know, those who can have the
that's-
shoulders back, you can just tell that they're gay.
Yeah. Then there's like the man spreading.
Yeah,
and
the
then
man
there's,
spreading.
like, I don't know, a bunch of stuff. Yeah, but even if like someone is hyper feminine, I can tell if she's gay. There's something about it. It's
I
like,
feel like, especially if they're hyper feminine, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things go over my head, honestly.
no, but actually
Yeah.
the thing is, right, like there's a difference between femme lesbians and like straight femmes. Like femme lesbians are a bit more like they're more flashy with the way they dress. You know, whereas like normal straight girls, they'll be femme, but it's like sundresses, like whatever's in trend.
Yeah,
Okay,
a
that makes
sundress is a very straight attire.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Straight girls always wear what's in trend. They rarely try to like get out of fashion discomfort. Whereas with like gays, femme, they tend to be more like flashy and they
Like they have their own aesthetic.
Yeah,
and
they're
like
bolder with their
bombastic about it.
yeah, they're bombastic. They're like this. Yeah, they're bombastic. Yeah. Okay, but I feel like for the most part for me, it's like it's usually if I'm trying to figure them out and if they're trying to figure me out, you know, like you just keep looking at each other and you're like,
Yeah.
Did
Oh my
you
god,
see
that's
that TikTok
true.
trend that was like, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I do that to somebody, if they'll be offended. Like, would they get it?
yeah,
Staring at people, I think. Not staring, looking at each other.
just looking at it.
And
you're
looking
just
at them
like,
up and down, and
hey.
you can see them looking at you, and then you're looking back, and
Yeah.
you guys just mind your own business.
And it's so funny, you know, because let's say like I notice a barista is like gay, and I'll be like, yeah, like one hot chocolate, please, or like, yeah, like oh, so do you like work here? Like you keep talking, but you just know that like each other, you're trying to figure that shit out. That's my experience, lah, at least. Yeah, so.
It's like you're just trying to see. I guess both people are trying to see. I guess that's the thing. Do you think if we lived in a country where it was so open, you'd even have to like?
Honestly, maybe there'll be less of that. Okay, no, honestly, lesbians in general, I just feel like we're all like cowards. What? No, okay.
But facts.
Nobody will actually, very rarely lah, okay, people will actually go up to the person and ask, you know. We'll just like try to sniff it out and stuff like that, you know, not really like directly ask.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Yeah.
Yeah, because lesbians are scared of rejection.
Isn't everybody though? Isn't
Actually-
everybody?
No, but men not though.
No, not straight. No,
Straight
men
men have, like,
have
so
the
much
audacity and no shame and no fear of rejection. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why everyone's like on the apps
Oh yeah, that's true.
I guess that's also a way that you know that if you see somebody there, that everybody is everybody's gay.
Yeah. You don't have to like play the guessing game and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I guess I think that's the other thing you said. Like, if you're fully straight and you're just looking to meet the person of the opposite gender, you almost feel like in every setting everybody's straight.
Yeah.
But you to meet somebody gay in public, it's not as easy, right?
Yeah. It's I don't think it is, at least.
Have you ever met anybody that you've dated from just like a barista or something like that?
Yeah, I have.
You dated?
Dated as in like
I mean, a few dates.
Oh,
whatever. However you.
Yeah, I have.
You have?
I literally told you about it on the podcast, dude.
No, it was
our latest episode.
No, it was the beer one, is it?
Yeah, I went out with her.
Yeah, but once.
Twice.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I went out with her twice.
Okay, yeah. Very rare for me though.
Rarely though.
Yeah.
It's different in the US. I feel like even for me, I don't think I would have ever like explored anything because like I also like men. So like it's like I was saying earlier, like I think when you are open that you can just, because you also like guys, that you just focus on them. But I think being in that space, especially in the States, like there was so much opportunity and so much openness that I've never seen before in my life. Like literally, if there was 10 people in the uni, 8 people were gay. So like I like there was just like it just felt like there was like so few straight people, especially straight men. There was none.
Wow.
None in
Oh,
existence.
nice.
I would have liked it.
Yeah, I would have liked it so much.
None. Zero. Maybe one.
Damn.
Yeah. So it kind of gives you more of an opportunity versus I guess like in KL, like I never felt that when I went to uni or anything here. It just
Yeah.
it again felt just like very just straight and a lot of drinking.
Heteronormative.
Yeah.
But aren't all your uni friends like gay?
No. My entire my uni is very like conservative.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So there were like very tiny percentage of them were gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what's nice overseas. I hope that we can bring that here. Okay, so just before we wrap up, I want to ask you guys, do you have any advice for young lesbians watching the show, maybe in closet, not in closet? Like how do you, on just any advice in general, like how would they become more comfortable, or if any words you'd have liked to hear if you were a little bit younger?
Oh my god. Words that you'd have liked to hear when you were younger.
It's a little hard right off the top of your head, but if any pieces of advice, even if it's something silly.
Okay, honestly, I feel like the fact that, the two of us are doing the podcast, that is something itself that I would like to have seen when I was younger. Because, when you're like young and closeted and stuff like that, you always watch gay content, but it's always white people.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm
like,
so sick of that shit.
And it's like, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, but like it doesn't relate to you that much, because you're not in that environment. It's a very different environment, So, I mean, other than that, I guess I would say not everybody's gonna disown you. You're gonna find like really great friends and people who actually love you for who you are. So, even though it's like really tough to come out, and of course not everybody has the privilege to be in a safe space to come out without getting disowned or thrown onto the streets, and all of that. But, if you have to be closeted, just know that like you are gonna find like real friends and, real chosen families who will love you for who you are.
Definitely.
Yeah, actually to piggyback off that, I think like part of the reason why we're confident is also because we have each other and a support system. So if it's not like, if I didn't have any gay friends or if I didn't have anybody, I wouldn't just be out here starting a podcast and like just being so open about it. But I think it's because I know that people have my back and it's like both of us, like we have each other's backs and everything, that we feel confident enough to present ourselves that way.
Yeah.
So I feel like the first thing you need to do is you really need to find a good support system.
Yes,
you need to find like a group of friends, or maybe just like 2-3 friends that that you can rely on, and don't get into relationships with them or don't start having sex with them. It's gonna ruin the friendship. And you're gonna be like a mess and a recycling center all over again.
Recycling center.
No, legit, it's like, please just find a group of friends that you're not gonna fuck with.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Because you should like build that friendship.
And I think that like your true friends and the people that are meant for you in your life, they will never judge you. They would no matter what, they would always, whatever it may be, whatever you're exploring, whatever you're trying to figure out, like they're gonna be there for you. They will love you. One of my like best friends in the whole world, like he we all knew he was gay from the moment we met him. The first thing he started with was, "I love Jake Gyllenhaal." So I was like, okay, then what world would we think you like women? And then I remember when he came out to us and he was just like, we were just sitting there and he was like, "You have to say it." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to say it." And I was like, "No, you say it." He's like, "You say it." I was like, "You like boys?" And he was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay, that's it." And so it was just, he had built himself up, but we just were like, cool. And then we just went back to eating. Like nothing, nothing changed. So I think that I always treasure that memory so much, because it was just like, it's so sweet. But I think that what I wish I could have said to him, and maybe to anybody listening, is that like, you don't have to be scared, and you don't have to feel like, especially if you have friends who you really love and you're really close to. I mean, of course, people can disappoint you, but more likely than not, if they love you, they might already know. And they don't. And if they don't, they're gonna love you anyway.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. All right. On that note, thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe and stay woke. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye.